thoughts lead to habits, okay? And where do those thoughts come from? Well, the thoughts come from our perception of what's going on in the market and how we're going to respond and how we're going to react, because if we don't fix it, we're going to feel something uncomfortable. The brain is all about trying to avoid pain and trying to get pleasure. That's what it's all about. And okay, so of course a lot of people are going to think it's because they overtrade or because they overleverage. People, that's symptom stuff. Even the prop firm CEOs will admit that they know, they're banking on it. 90% of people are going to blow their accounts because that's how they get their money to give the payouts. So let's go deeper, people. Let's not deal with this symptom stuff anymore, okay? It's going to get uncomfortable. We're going to talk about something real here. But the longer people keep attaching their identity to the trade, the longer they keep coming up with these habits, these symptoms. But habits don't come of their own. Thoughts lead to habits, okay? And where do those thoughts come from? Well, the thoughts come from our perception of what's going on in the market and how we're going to respond and how we're going to react, because if we don't fix it, we're going to feel something uncomfortable. The brain is all about trying to avoid pain and trying to get pleasure. That's what it's all about. And it comes out as overtrading. It comes out as moving my stop. It comes out as over leveraging. It comes out as all these symptoms and habits that people know they need to stop doing. It does no good to write in my journal that I had these actions, I had these symptoms, I had this rule that I broke again. We got to go deeper, people, because as long as I keep breaking it, but I don't know why I keep breaking it, what good does that do? And here's where it gets deep. If you keep doing that, well, first of all, let me back up. Okay, let me back this truck up. So the best thing to do to figure out, is it the daggone strategy or is it me? Because it could only be one of two things, right? So either it's the strategy that just is not probable, or it's me that I'm not following along with the strategy, right? It could only be one of those two things. So if people keep blowing their accounts, well then let me check on the daggone strategy. Follow it. Don't divert from it. Follow the daggone strategy and make it super, super simple. Like super simple. You got support, you got resistance, and then you just say, okay, if it's a nice sized candle, showing momentum, showing resistance, showing that support or resistance is going to hold, I go to the other side. I go to the opposite, the support or resistance, whichever one is the opposite. And make sure you got a nice risk to reward. Make sure you don't put too much of the trade on the line, too much of your account on the line and oversize, because then you can't last over a sample size of 100 trades. Just do something super simple. You don't need all these indicators cluttering up your chart. As soon as you have something super simple, then all you got to do is journal. I did or I did not follow my trade. If I didn't follow the trade, if I oversized in the trade, if I was apprehensive to get in, if I FOMO traded, if I chased, if I moved my stop and I wasn't supposed to, if I over leveraged, all of those reasons, you didn't follow the strategy. That's it. It's really that simple. So you make sure you got a super simple strategy, step one. You make sure that you follow that thing to the T. If you can't follow that thing to the T, it's not the strategy. It's not the strategy. Now we're getting somewhere, right? Now we're cooking with gas, because we know it's either the strategy or we know it's my psychology. I got to figure out which one it is. Follow the daggone thing to the T. If I can't follow the daggone thing to the T, then it's me. But that's where the gold is, people. That's where the gold is, because if I am the problem, I am also the solution. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because I can start to figure out, what is it inside? What is it between my two ears that I need to fix in order to get that result? Okay? So you start writing down, okay, I didn't follow it, I didn't follow it, I didn't follow it. It's a muscle. I'm telling you, it's a muscle. You're probably going to fudge it up, and you're probably not even going to be 50% where you can even follow it 50% of the time, because there's so much attachment to winning that trade, to making sure this one works out. to making sure I don't give it back, to making sure I prove myself, to making sure all this kind of stuff. Even that is symptomatic. It goes deeper, okay? So yes, we come up with top 5 reasons, top 7 reasons. It comes down to the fact that I am attaching something I should not be attaching to a trade that does not define who I am. That's really as simple as it comes. I'm attaching something I should not be attaching to a trade who does not define who I am. That's really all it is. Now, how do I unattach that sort of a thing? Because I need to follow the daggone strategy. It needs to be super simple. And I need to work on my psychology. If I can't follow it every single time flawlessly, I'm not putting too much on. I'm not getting out too early. Because anytime those things happen, that I'm putting too much on the trade, it's because I'm attaching something that ought not be attached, like my identity or something like that. Now, if I'm moving my stop, I care too much about the trade. If I'm getting out too early, I care too much about the trade. If this trade has to work and I need to add more size to it because I'm hoping to make it back, I'm putting too much and attaching too much on the trade. I should never give the trade that much power. Never. Okay? So, strategy works. Make it super simple so that I can follow it so easily and know if I'm following it or not. Keep track of my journal if I actually did or didn't do it every single time. If I'm not, let's go deeper, okay? So if I am attaching and I'm keeping track, every day you got to keep track how many times I follow the strategy to a T. Because if I win, it doesn't mean I followed the strategy. If I win, okay, what a win should be is, did I follow the strategy to a T precisely? Even if I win money and I didn't follow the strategy, I did not follow the strategy. I attached my identity to it or something that shouldn't be attached to it and allowed the trade to define something that it should never define, like me. Then I need to mark that down. So I just have a bunch of column of yes and no's. Did I or did I not follow it? Now, if I'm not following it, I need to write down why I really wanted that trade to win, why I really risked too much on that trade, why I really staked too much of my identity to that trade, why I really cared so much about that trade, why I stake so much and invest so much in one single event to define me. And you're going to start to notice it's going to repeat even though you thought you worked on it, because it doesn't go away, okay? That's the fallacy. We're not trying to eradicate emotions. We're not trying to become something we're not. We're not trying to be immortal here. We're just admitting the fact that we are. Let it go. We have those feelings. We have those emotions. Yes, we're human. And anybody who says anything different is lying. We all have them. So all of these things that are trying to teach people to get rid of their emotions or be so stoic or not have them and be so staunch and be so stalwart and never mess up, it's just not even possible. It's not even possible. But it's okay that it's not possible. It's totally okay. So what I like to do is, for every time I screw it up, I like to say, what are 5 things that are always true, always correct about this situation, about my identity, about the thing that I attach to it. So I'll give you an example, okay? So let's say today, for instance, when I traded, I did botch it, I did mess it up, and I really wanted to overcome another prop firm and pass my test even faster. So I did. I put on too much size. It wasn't enough to blow the account, but it was more than I should have. It was probably 10%, and that's way too much for my risk reward and my my win rate. And I can't say how much is too much because it just depends on the particular strategy, the risk reward, how much your account size is. But I put too much on it, okay? So then I said, okay, why did I do that? Because I wanted to pass the prop firm faster, okay, and just be done with it so I could add it and start making money from it, okay? Stupid, all right? Because the dopamine is going to hit in the process of achieving something. The dopamine is released when we are in the pursuit or we anticipate getting the end result. It's not achieved at the very end, okay? It's not released at the very end. Dopamine is released in the pursuit or the hope of achieving the end result. And then we start to respond to something completely different, okay? So then I said, well, what is true about this process that I'm following, what is always correct, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of creed, regardless of who I am, regardless of time period, anything. It's always true. It's always correct. And I said, well, there's always support. There's always resistance. There's always supply. There's always demand. There's always energy. There's always movement. There's always momentum. It might not be the same as before, but to some degree, it can still be measured. Now, when those things are always true, what am I doing to violate that? And so I actually have a prayer in my heart. And I say, are these things always true? And then I say, what else would you have me know? And the thing that came to me is, Aaron, it's a probability. You just got to let it play out, man. It's not always going to work. I love you. And it's not always going to work. So play the probability. And in due time, it's going to work out. Was I able to release everything? Was I able to get rid of it? No. But it helps me to it helps me to start to tweak my mind. And it helps me to get closer and closer to understanding that these things are okay. It is okay to let this stuff go. But that is a much deeper lesson for another time. But I want you to know, anytime that I am trading and I fudge up my rules, I have to be aware that I'm attaching something that I shouldn't attach and believing something that does not define me. When I stop doing that, I'm okay. It's all right. I can let it go. I can let everything pan out. And even though I do fudge up sometimes, that's okay. Even the mistakes I make do not define who I am. I'm allowed to just harmonize with what is, neutralize with what is, and just play it out. I don't have to stake who I am on anything that doesn't define me. That is the real reason that traders are blowing accounts left and right. They stake too much on it. It has to work out. They really need it. They really want it. They want it so badly. But in wanting it so badly, they sacrifice who they really are and what matters most to keep them poised and positioned and neutralized and objective and calm in the face of all that up and down motion in the market. Okay? The more you practice doing that, the more you practice letting go, the longer your threshold, the longer your endurance level will become. That's what you want. You can trade longer and longer sessions. Not that you really want to, because you might really want to do this as a means to an end to enjoy the people you want to be around anyway. Okay? So it's just some food for thought, but I don't think it's these symptoms. Okay? It's not just that people move their stops. It's not just that people risk too much. It's not that people overtrade. It's not that people aren't following their strategy. Okay, yeah, I mean, that is some of it, but those are all symptoms. Come on, people. It's a much deeper thing when people attach what shouldn't be attached because they believe what they get out of it will define them. That's the real issue here. And the moment we stop doing that, you won't just start winning trades. You will change as a person forever. And that is the person, and those are the people that we need in our society today. I'm saying it. So if you want any help, please comment below. I'm helping anybody who needs the help, okay? I know people need it. I know God knows how much I needed it when I really needed it. And thank God he came to my rescue and he was able to help me out when I needed it most. I know there are other people out there who do, because we always hear about the 90% who can't make it. So I'm willing to help. Comment below that you need the help, you want to chat, subscribe. I'll show you a whole lot more ways that we can do this together, all right? God bless. Talk to you next time.